Hello. Hmm. Here we are again. Mm. Life is funny, isn't it? I am dropping in here today. I'm going to try and make a quick video on the conversation around how to put this, around the difference between understanding our true nature, understanding human power, and spiritual bypassing. I made a video last week talking about how we can choose to apply love in every situation. And I was talking about how wonderful that is. And it came up in the comments, this conversation that, I've had with myself in the past, that I've had with other people. And really, what it boils down to is our human mind having a little bit of difficulty with recognizing that love and acceptance is the only way that we make a change in the world, and that we make a change within ourselves. And I wanted to briefly try and break this down today because I have a history, a story of finding my way into alchemy simply by intuitive guidance. And what I have found is this wonderful understanding that we can shift our internal reality, and we can also shift our external reality. And this is, of course, something that many of us have heard about, something that we might also understand and practice. But with what my experience is that many of us are fighting the idea that we can apply love to change the world. And this is because we have this trend of spiritual bypassing. And I have to say straight away that this is not the same thing. When we do spiritual bypassing, which I have done for myself in the past, we do spiritual bypassing because we don't understand fully the truth of our existence, of our experience, of our nature as human beings, as consciousness. So the first thing that we have to understand, in order to understand this concept of love changing the world, is that all that we are is consciousness, is awareness, is being. We are having these experiences in these apparent separate bodies. But truly, the only thing that we are is consciousness, is being, is awareness, is the one that is observing life happening with no attachment, with no right or wrong, with no value. Consciousness does not see anything as good or bad. It simply is. It doesn't see pain as bad. It's just pain. And I accept that that can be triggering. That's okay. But this is something that we can all check for ourselves. If we open our curiosity to exploring our true experience, these are the teachings of the tradition of non-dualism, self-inquiry. If we choose to be a little bit curious about our experience, we can find this out for ourselves. And better yet, I'm cooking quinoa. I'm not sure I'm very good at cooking quinoa. And we can also see for ourselves the fact that consciousness does not hold value. And we can speak about this at a later time, because if I want to keep this fairly short, I need to get on with it. So when we can understand that our true nature is simply consciousness, oh, there it goes. If we can accept that our experience is consciousness, it's just consciousness having an experience, we can also begin to see that the nature of consciousness is acceptance, is openness, is love. I equate consciousness, love, and truth as the same thing. I define them as the same thing. the unfiltered experience of consciousness is the highest truth. It is the only truth that is the same everywhere. And the experience of consciousness, from everyone that I have heard, and for myself as well, is described as love, as happiness, as acceptance. And when we understand that our true nature is awareness, we also understand that these experiences that we're having in these separate bodies, they don't really matter that much. And this is a bit of a paradox. This is a bit of a paradox because we are still human beings and we're still going to have our experience, and we can just go ahead and sort of play with life. And it's, you know, it's fun and it's sad and it's painful and it's pleasurable and it's great, and it's the experience of the 3D reality that we are existing on. It is the 3D reality of complete duality that is the nature of this realm. But when we know that we are consciousness, we can learn to simply let go of the value that we put on every experience, no matter if that is an internal experience or an external experience. And the way that we shift, and this is the interesting part that is connected to alchemy, the way that we shift our experience. So if we are experiencing, for example, a difficult emotion inside the body, anxiety, for example, an emotion that is familiar to myself. We shift that emotion within ourselves by opening up to it, by loving it, by accepting it, by reminding ourselves that this emotion is simply an emotion that I, as consciousness, is observing right now. It's not good, it's not bad, it's not anything. It simply is. And the point at the end of the day isn't even to shift or change anything. Because when we truly understand the nature of who we are, we don't need anything to change. That doesn't mean that we are looking at violence on the street and just keep on walking. No. Our empathy is greater than ever because we recognize everything as ourself. The ultimate truth that we are everything. So if we can, we will shift, make efforts to help. But we also do that with the acceptance that pain exists in this world. Violence exists in this world right now. And when we accept anything, it's the only time it has the opportunity to change. Everything that we resist, we give more power because we give our attention to it. This is law. There is no way to get around this fact. So whenever we apply acceptance, and love to something, we give it the opportunity to change. So coming back to an experience of having anxiety in the body, even if the objective isn't to accept it, to change it, because then we're not actually accepting it. But when we open to our experience here and now, we soften. Our consciousness opens. We get to see all of these different perspectives that we weren't able to even see when we were focusing so strongly onto this thing. I have anxiety, I have anxiety, I have anxiety. What? You won't change anything. And as we zoom out, perhaps the anxiety is still there, but all of a sudden there are all these other things. And we get to see the experience of anxiety from a whole different perspective. And I am telling you, it is not the same anymore. And it is the only chance for it to dissolve and leave our experience for good. Because we are inviting a different perspective in. We are giving love and acceptance to our experience, which allows it to change. Doesn't mean it has to change. And even if it doesn't change, our experience of it has changed. And the same goes for the external. Buddha said something along the lines of, what you think you create, what you think you experience, what you think is the world. This used to be my favorite quote, which simply states that what you think you become. something like that. It simply states that our thoughts create our reality. And if we are resisting the external if we are resisting the pain inside of ourselves and we're resisting the pain in the world, we are giving it more attention. We are giving it more energy. We have the choice to choose to dream a different reality. This is what human beings just need to understand. We have all the power. And it starts with us understanding, seeing ourselves, accepting our own emotions, being able to deal with our own experience of pain. Because if we can't, we cannot accept the world, the pain in the world. We cannot hold anything for the pain in the world. But when we do, we hold space for the pain that is outside of us and we transmute it just the same way that we transmute the pain that is inside of us. When we are not afraid of it, we can give it love and acceptance. And that doesn't mean that we're saying this is okay and I'm just going to look the other way. I'm not going to care. No. It's the complete opposite. We find creative solutions. And at the very least, we are holding space to process some of the pain that perhaps the beings that are experiencing it can't. And as we do so, we give it an opportunity to change and shift. And we can allow ourselves to dream of a different reality. Not with the resistance of this is bad, I want it to be different. No. With I see that this is what is. I'm going to soften to it. And then I'm going to pray for a different reality. And I pray and hope that this has made sense. These are the kind of conversations that are best held in person, live. Satnam, Satnam, Satnam.